Okay, here it is. The Dell XPS 13 Plus, all new. I'm excited. Hopefully you are too. Welcome back. Here's another show for you, another episode of our show. First thing I want to point out is this packaging. Packaging is made from 100% recycled or renewable materials. So the new XPS 13 Plus from Dell, it is more sustainable than ever. It's using a low-carbon aluminum in the chassis, which makes you reduce the footprint, and they've gone the one extra step to give us this really boring, ugly box. Here we go. Let's go ahead and open it up and see what we have inside. So there it is. It's a little bit better looking on the inside than it was when we just saw the outside. It has this tray which is branded with the XPS, and it seems to be a little inset. It kind of reminds me of a TV dinner or something. You guys think this looks like a TV dinner? I kind of do. It's like a lasagna that you might get in the store. Anyway, hopefully it'll be a good lasagna because it was way more expensive than any lasagna I've had. That being said, this machine was pretty fully loaded. We got it. It's got an i7 processor. It's got 32 gig of RAM. It's got 2 terabytes of SSD hard drive space. This machine was almost $2,000. You can get into these. They start, I believe, in about $1,200. So here you go. We have a little label here to open it up. Oh, welcome to Dell. They've got this handy dandy bag, which they've printed on it. Welcome to Dell. Let's do great things together. That's pretty thin. Feels pretty light, but it feels solid. Let's go ahead and open it up. I'll just show you real quickly. In here, got some paperwork. USB-C to USB-C. Power cable, power adapter, nice and small. That's a good one. You got a small laptop. The last thing you want to do is carry a big adapter. See that? Very small. Power one side, USB-C on the other. And they've given us USB-C to USB adapter. And they've given us, nice, USB-C. They've given us this, 3.5 millimeter to USB-C, so you can use a regular wired headset with that. Nice little set of adapters, molded box. Okay, so laptop comes in a nice little felt bag. There it is. It's a nice, very compact laptop. This machine is 0.6 inches. 0.6 inches, just over half an inch, and they start at 2.7 pounds, so under 3-pound machine. Let's open it up. There we go. We're going to open it up. What do we see here? There it is. It's a little bit harder for me to get a shot for you, but there it is. It's got a very nice refined keyboard here. It's all flat keys. It's pretty nice. The touchpad is integrated. Behind this is glass touchpad surface. It's very nice and smooth. The feel of the keys is pretty nice. It looks nice and tight. There is a touch button here, so I'm anxious to see what that looks like as well. I do always recommend when you have a new laptop that you go ahead and you plug it in. So I'm going to try not to be hypocritical, and I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. They've given us a pretty decent long USB-C. I can't even show you in here, but 3, 6, probably 7, 8 feet here. It's not too bad, not too long, not too bad. Plug it on in to the adapter. From there, we'll plug the USB-C in. We'll plug this in right here because we have a nice power strip waiting for us. And plug the laptop in. Now, fits nice in the hand. We have one USB-C on this side and one USB-C on this side. So one thing it's not is it's not rich in ports. So that being said, so here we go. I'm going to open up the lid. So let's go ahead and turn this thing on. Now there's a little button up here by the backspace, and that's where we're going to actually turn on the power. It's also the fingerprint sensor. So let's go ahead and give it a try. Very nice. Ooh, XPS. Very nice, almost like slightly rubberized feeling. Now if you look, I'm going to hold this up so you can see. If you look, this has lit up now to be a function bar. It showed the F keys, F1, F2, some of those you need for startup to get into BIOS, etc. Now it's showing escape, your volume controls, your mic controls, your backlight, screen brightness, the ability to project brightness for the screen, project my screen somewhere else, print screen, and some of the other basic home and insert delete keys, backspace. So this is dynamic, which means it's going to change depending on what we're doing. That's pretty cool. I think this is a pretty cool little slick feature that they've given us. I know for some of the Mac friends, they were disappointed in the MacBook Pro because the MacBook Pro used to have a similar type of dynamic bar and they took it away. So a lot of the Mac people I know, they're a little disappointed that they don't have it. So we're here in English. Now this is supposed to be a touch screen. So let's give it a touch. Very nice ultra high def screen. United States. This machine is an i7. It's got 32 gig of RAM. It's got 2 terabytes of hard drive. This is really a powerful machine. It's small and compact, but it's very powerful. We don't want to add another layout. Okay, connect to a network. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to hide this out from you guys because I've learned you can't really trust anybody, right? Always keep a password on your Wi-Fi. Don't think, oh, I don't care, because guess what? People will use your wireless network to do things that will then be traced back to you. So here we go. Checking for updates right out of the box. Here we go. Just trying to get this to a point where I can show you the machine. In the meanwhile, first impressions are very nice. It's a very ultra portable machine. It's got an express charging system, so you can charge 80% of your battery in less than an hour, which is pretty cool. It's definitely made to perform. As I talked about, the touchpad, it's glass. You don't even see that it's in there, but it's in there. Backlit keyboard, touch sensor, function button. It's pretty slick. I'm pretty liking this machine. Now the battery life with the FHD Plus display, you get about 13 hours. This one I believe we ordered with the 4K display, gets us about 7 hours in 4K. So now you can have the choice of personal or work. For most people, it'll be for personal use unless you're using it for a business where there's an environment where you need to authenticate and gain resources to there. So we're going to go ahead and do the for work, and we're going to say domain join instead. So say big man for right now, right? And a password. I'm not going to put one, but always use strong passwords. Don't just put no password, because then anybody who gets in your machine, they can be you. They have access to you. They can send emails as you. Put a password. Privacy settings. Don't just click next. Pay attention. They want to see where the location is. They want to find your device. Diagnostic data. Different advertising data. Read these things and understand what you're agreeing to. I'm going to pass right through them right now, but I'm going to change all those because I don't typically like all these. Now, by disabling some of these features, you will limit the ability for it to know, say, where you are and what the weather is where you are now, because if you don't allow it to determine where you are, then how can it know where you are? So that's the point. So I'm going to go ahead and accept them for right now, but I would say read these carefully. Don't just accept things for what they are. Know what you're accepting and know what you're agreeing to. Preferences, first name, etc. Let's see. I just went by it. I'm not going to use it to register. I've read this. I'm just kind of blowing through here. Normally I'd be filling this in, but I just want to get to the machine. It feels very responsive, but we're just in the startup screen. So again, the Dell XPS 13 Plus, it seems like a great machine. If you can, take time to subscribe to our channel, like us, follow us, give us some comments down below, what you like, what you don't like, what you think we can do better. This, at a couple $1,000 machine, if you were talking about a Mac, you would be in a few $1,000 machine to get a feature set similar to this. So it's a little less expensive than buying a similar Mac, and in Mac at this point you won't get a touchscreen because none of their laptops actually have touchscreens. You'd have to go with an iPad situation. So there are some advantages of this, not to say there's definitely some advantages from Apple and Macs and MacBooks and all those computers. I believe that there's a place for all the computers in the world. They all have their place. One's not necessarily better. In general, maybe some are better for certain tasks than others, but they're all very good machines. They're super powerful machines at this point of the game. Okay, so here we are. Machine's all booted up. As you can see, the display is really, really nice. Let's see if we can see it without some glare. The display is really nice. It's super clear. I'm totally impressed with the display. Being a touch screen, sometimes touch screens seem like they're not quite as good, but this one definitely seems like it's pretty good. Let's go ahead and get the program we like to use sometimes. It's called GeekBench. It gives us a little bit of benchmark testing. Now, it's available for Mac, Windows, Linux, so you can test all your different machines. This one runs on Windows 10 or above. This machine has Windows 11 Pro. Pro gives you some extra security features and a few extra features in general that Home doesn't. Many people won't know the difference if they're using it for a personal use, but if you're using it in a business, you have more sensitive data. Go ahead and get the Pro version of Windows 11. touchpad is a multi-touch touchpad. You can do scrolling and things like that by using 2 fingers and 3 fingers. You see that minimizes and maximizes the application. 2 fingers does scrolling, although right now it wants me to do this. You can give it a quick little tap, or you can click it if you want to. You do, being a Windows machine, definitely have a right alt-click button that's down here on the right side a little bit. Go ahead and install, and let's run it. It's free. There's a paid license. If you want to do some more in-depth things, go ahead and subscribe and license GeekBench 6. Everybody deserves to get paid for their work. So if you use it, you love it, go ahead and give them a few bucks. Okay, here it shows Dell XPS 11. It tells us what our machine is, model, motherboard, how much memory, what is 13th. This is 13th generation machine. This is 12 cores, so that's pretty impressive. Generation means it's substantially an improved processor. They've developed it more till it's become enough to be a new generation. It's not just a new number that comes after what the processor is to show how late in that generation it is, but it's actually substantial enough to say this is a new generation of processor. Typically, part of that has to do with how many cores it has, the frequency, how many threads it can handle. Cores are basically like, if you want to say they're like engines, the more cores, the more processing it can do simultaneously, parallel. So it doesn't have to wait for something to finish before it can think about the next thing. It has 12 cores to do it, and older machines, 1 core, 2 core, 4 core, they've improved over the years. So more cores means more processing power. They give all the processors names. This one is Raptor Lake. It's just kind of like in Apple, every operating system has a name that goes with OS 12 point whatever, 13 point whatever. It also has a name. So this is still running. Takes a few minutes to run. So while this is running, I'm going to let you know the XPS, it was crafted with CNC aluminum, which means CNC is you take a piece of something and you take away from it. So they take a solid piece of aluminum and they mill out where they don't want. So it's not pieces of aluminum soldered, bolted together. It's actually a one-piece aluminum frame. So it provides something that's simple but strong. Same with the glass that they've used to cover the touchpad. It makes it very simple, but it's also strong. All these little features together, they make the machine more efficient. They make it still very powerful. They make it very portable. It's thin, it's lightweight. So they've done a lot. Another cool feature of this machine is that it has a dual sensor camera. What it does is it uses infrared and RGB. So it helps you look really good, even in low light. Plus, if you're using something like Express Sign-In with Windows Hello, it can detect that you're there. It can detect that you've moved away so that it can lock your computer, because so many people just get up, we walk away from our computer. Computer's on, anybody could come in and jump in and be us again. So looks like it's just finished up, and here we go. Single core score is 2269. Multi-core score is 11497. So that's pretty good. From a laptop, I'm trying to remember, we did some MacBooks recently. We could also come here and we could search and say MacBook Pro M2. This size-wise, it compares to the Air. I did Pro because it's going to have to compare spec-wise to the Pro. But you can see MacBook Pro M2. So that's the latest Apple processor. So this one is very similar, maybe a little bit less. This MacBook Pro 14-inch M2 Max, not the Pro. It's very similar. Although it does seem like with the Pro processor instead of the Max processor gets a little bit better performance than the Pro processor. So I would say it's somewhere in between those two. So as you can see, single core score on a MacBook Air is actually, in many cases, even a little bit better than this machine, which is pretty impressive. Multi-core score is definitely below. You have 8 cores on here, you have 12 cores on here, so you would expect it to be able to outperform outperform. That says a lot for the processing power, even a MacBook Air. That's a pretty powerful machine. Now, what if we went to M1? How much does that change? Just slightly. It's a little bit. It's really very similar in single-core processor performance to this machine. But again, in multi-core performance, you're definitely exceeding on both of those. So anyway, the machines, it's up there with the top of those. When I pulled up those Macs, those are the latest. Those are the latest machines. So yeah, it performs well. I'd imagine the Wi-Fi. Let's do a speed test and let's see what we have here on Wi-Fi. Yeah, we're getting 400, almost 500 megabits, which is pretty good. That's pretty fast on Wi-Fi connection. So there it is. We got almost 500 down and we got almost 600 up off of a Wi-Fi connection. That's pretty darn good. All in all, I like the machine. It's supposed to be very durable with the single body aluminum frame. Screen is honestly beautiful. I can look at it. I can turn this all the way over this way. The touch sensitivity seems very good. Yeah, all in all, it's a very, very nice machine. So yeah, GeekBench showed us that. Oh, let's do real quick. Let's do a GPU test on this just for fun. As always, we'll try to link this down below. So if you decide you want to pick one up, please go ahead and click our link. While you're at it, subscribe to our channel, like us and follow us, give us comments, things we can improve on, things you like, things you didn't like. Go ahead and give us your feedback. As I was telling you before, you see I plugged this in. If we look at the battery only has 59% out of the box. So good idea to go ahead and charge your battery before you really get going. I've got it plugged in. We're charging as we go. Although running some of these benchmark tests probably is consuming a good amount of power. Okay, so it came back. It gave us an OpenCL score of 15,000, just over 15,000. Let's see. It tells us again what we've got in the machine. It's going to tell us, I don't know if it tells us what kind of video. Yeah, it does. Intel. So it's a built-in Iris Xe graphics. Here's all the different basemark tests. So you can see, graphics-wise, this thing compares to a very average type of graphics card that would be in a machine. It's good. It's not just average like that. But at the same time, as you see at 15,000, I've pulled up this test, and some of these high-end video cards, we quickly get into 60, 70,000 and well over when you're talking about, we are talking about a RTX 3070, which is a very high-end card, but we're at 128,000. So expect what you want. It can definitely project wirelessly. You would have to on this machine because you have only limited ports. You'd need some sort of adapter if you wanted to hardwire it using HDMI to a monitor. You'd need some sort of USB-C to HDMI adapter. Or if you've checked out our video on the Ugreen hub, something like that, it's USB-C, then you can plug your power adapter into the adapter. Gives you HDMI, it gives you full-size USB, it gives you a whole bunch of connections, card reader slots. This machine is very limited, honestly, with one USB-C on each side. I'd say that's one of the only drawbacks I see on it. I know it's thin and they're trying to maintain that, but come on, you could give us a couple of the USB-Cs. That pretty much puts you at a point where if you need to connect much of anything through a wire, you're going to need some sort of hub or some sort of dock or something because you really only have one left. And so there's your one. They were nice enough to give you this adapter, but if you wanted to use a wired headphones and a power adapter, you now have no ports for anything. You can't plug in your hard drive. You can't plug in anything. So that's my only, I would say, a downside of it. I think that, overall design, when you open the lid, I'm super impressed at the inside, super impressed at how it looks and feels here. Keyboard feels very responsive. It's a beautiful machine. Backlit keyboard, slightly rubberized kind of feel with a glass touchpad. It's really cool. But when I close the lid, I think, wow, is this an XPS from 10 years ago? Nah, maybe. It doesn't look that different from the outside. That's the only thing I kind of wish they would have spruced up the outside. They made the edges, the angles a little bit more, angled, but I don't know that it looks really much more modern. And to 2 ports, a little bit lean on the ports for me. But all in all, I totally would recommend this machine for anybody who's looking for a machine that's ultra portable, that still needs and wants a nice, powerful machine, something that's cutting edge. It's a great machine, don't get me wrong. You know, people aren't going to oogle on it like they do on your MacBook, but once you open the lid, they'll oogle because this is a very nice machine. So again, Dell XPS 13 Plus, good machine. Go out and get one. Check the links below. Subscribe, like our channel. We'll see you again soon.
We appreciate you. We'll see you next week. More exciting episodes to come. Don't you forget about us.